Hello everyone, today I'm going to be working on recanning this log cabin syrup. Before I get into it, let me say that recanning is not something that is an approved method to do. It's not something that you'll find in the Ball book or anything like that. So do your own research and you can determine whether or not it is the right thing for you to do. All right, now with that out of the way, let me just say that I ended up with these two jugs of syrup. There was one in the fridge that I didn't realize was there, and there was one in the pantry that I ended up opening up. So I have these two jugs of syrup in the fridge, and I want to free up some room in my refrigerator. So I'm going to recan this. My big goal is to empty this out and then only have this. I am only recanning 5 pints of the syrup, and so I can pretty well tell you that I won't be able to get both jugs done, but if I empty this one all the way out, then I'll be happy. Okay, so now let's get into it. So thankfully the recanning process is very simple. I'm just going to fill up, actually, you know what I think I'm going to do is take this lid off so I can dump more out at a time. And I'm going to fill up each jar. And I'm going to do it up to the bottom rim of these canning jars. And the reason I'm doing 5 pints is that is how much will fit into my Nesco canner, which is what I'm using to do this. But you don't have to have that type of canner. You can do this, and even I'm going to water bath this, so you can do it even in a large stock pot. You just have to have a rack at the bottom of the pot and be able to cover the jars with at least 1 inch or 2 of water. So anyway, but I am using my Nesco, and because of that, the limit is 5 pints. Now you can see that I've pretty well finished this one, emptied this one out, and that's with just 3. So that's awesome because I'm going to be able to get rid of this jug. Actually, it's way at the bottom and I'm having a hard time pouring it out, so I'm going to go ahead and move on over to the next jug of syrup and see how much of it that I can end up getting into these jars. And the nice thing about this is that it'll make it easier for me to get through the remaining jug that is going to go into the fridge because there won't be as much in it. So I emptied the one jug, and let me see if I can show you what's left in the second jug. And so this second jug is going to go back in the fridge. Next I'm going to debubble these, and I do think I have some of these filled a little bit more than is needed. I'm not really sure that debubbling is necessary in syrup like this, but it's always better to err on the side of caution and do a step that you don't necessarily have to do, rather than not doing something you should do. So I'm just going to go ahead and debubble each of them. And then if there's any that are above or below the little ring here, then I will adjust by either adding a little syrup or taking some out. You can see this one is a little low, which is probably good because a couple of them are a little high. So I'll just use the ones that are a little too high to add to this one jar. When I was debubbling, not this one but the one before, and was taking this little spatula out, I did drip a little bit of syrup on the edge, and this is why it's going to be important to wipe the rims, which I'll do in just a minute after I finish getting all of the jars filled up to the right level. Alright, so this one has a little bit more than it should. The rest of them are at a good level, except this one doesn't have quite enough. So I'm just going to spoon a little bit from this one into this one. And again, I dripped a little bit of syrup, but I'll be wiping down with vinegar, so that is totally fine. Okay, next we're going to wipe the rims with vinegar. Make sure and get off any of that sticky syrup that dripped on. Okay, and I am going to use 3 regular ball lids and then 2 of my Harvest Guard lids. Then I'm going to put them into my Nesco canner. Okay, and now I'm going to go get 2 Harvest Guard lids that I have had in simmering water. With the Harvest Guards, you do need to simmer them before putting them on. So I'll go get those and be right back. Okay, so I have my Harvest Guard lids and the gaskets. I'm placing the gasket onto the lid, putting it on and centering it. I'm going to screw this on while holding down on the lid just slightly, and you'll see once it starts spinning like that, it's tight enough. So I'll put that in to the canner. And I've got my other lid and ring. I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, so I've put all of them into my Nesco canner, and I'm going to pour water in until it goes above the... Actually, these are kind of high, so I'm going to do a little different method in that you can do in the Nesco canner. Now, this is just specific to the Nesco canner. I haven't done this before, but it's where if your jars are too high, and technically these are not, I could put water all the way up to the edge here and it would be fine. But I've been kind of wanting to try this other method. And it's a way to water bath in the Nesco if your jars are too high. So for example, if you were using quart jars, they would go way up to the top and you couldn't cover them with water. So what you do in that case is, first let me go ahead and close my lid, and I'm setting it to the exhaust position, and then I'll just show you. I set this to the exhaust position because I'm going to water bath, and even if I was pressure canning, you always start off with exhaust. And then I am turning this to the closed position. And then I am going to use low pressure. Normally for water bath canning in the Nesco, you pick water bath steam. But today I just wanted to show you an alternate way to do it. You pick low, and then you put the time in. And I'm going to do these for 30 minutes. And 25 would probably be enough depending on your elevation, but I am at above 1,000 feet. So I'm doing this for 30 minutes, and I'm going to press start. Now what's going to happen is this is going to spin around until steam starts coming out, a steady stream of steam, and then I will press start again. So I will bring you back at that time. Now again, if you were using this as a water bath, you would press, for a typical water bath with, say, smaller jars, then you would cover the jars completely with water, press water bath steam, and then set the time just like I did there. All right, so I just wanted to show you an alternate way of using the Nesco for water bath canning. I'll be back in just a bit. Okay, the canner has gotten to the right level of heat, and it is now switched over to the E10. That means it's going to exhaust for 10 minutes, and then at that time it will automatically start the countdown timer. Okay, the timer counted down from E10 to E0, and I've switched it to the airtight position, and once the right amount of pressure builds, the countdown will begin. Okay, it's down to a minute, and when that timer goes off, it'll beep, and then I'll unplug the canner, and I'm going to leave it in the airtight position and let it come down pressure naturally. Okay, there it goes. So I'm going to unplug the canner, and so you can see that it turned off. That's basically equivalent to turning the heat off on the stove, a stovetop canner, and I'm going to let it come down pressure naturally, and then when it does, I'll bring you back at that point. When I use the high pressure, it can take an hour or more to come down off of pressure. I'm thinking it'll take less time with that since I used low pressure, but we'll see. So the pressure has dropped and I went ahead and opened it. I'm going to let it cool for just a few minutes, maybe about 5 minutes before I take things out. Let it come to room temperature a little better, and then after about 5 or 10 minutes I'm going to screw the rims tighter on these Harvest Guard lids, and then I'll cover them, let them cool, and then I'll check back later. And apologize for the noise. We have some construction going on in the home right now, and but I wanted you to see it at this time, so I'm going to go ahead and like I said, wait a few minutes, take it out, and then let them cool all the way, and I'll show you the final product. Hello everyone, I just wanted to give a quick update on the syrup. You can see what it looks like inside of the jar, and every single one of them have sealed. So I now have syrup in very manageable pint-sized jars. So one thing that's interesting is I'm actually filming this a few days, Thanksgiving week, a few days before Thanksgiving. And last night my mom wanted to pick up a turkey to donate to her church because her church always feeds a lot of people on Thanksgiving. This year is different, of course, with COVID. They're doing like drive-through things. But anyway, and so we needed to put the turkey in the fridge. And no joke, had I not recanned this, there would not have been room in the fridge for the turkey. So it was really good timing that we did that. So I want to encourage you, because if you get like those big jug of syrup, I mean, maybe you can fit it in your fridge, but how much more convenient is it to have these pint-sized jars? Or you could even do half-pint jars or even quarter-pint jars if you wanted like individual size syrups to use. I'm definitely going to do this again. I'm tempted to go ahead and do the other jug, but the challenge is I only have so many jars and so much space to put jars, so I'm not sure that I want to have all of these jars of syrup. But I'm definitely going to do this again. Anytime we buy a large jug of syrup, I'll recan it into sizes like this, and then we only have the little can in the fridge, you know, whatever can is open, one jar at a time in the fridge. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you would like the video, and also if you would subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.